I just want everyone to know that I had full intentions of filming this intro ahead of time, but it just didn't work out that way. Hi, everybody. My name is Gia. I'm a 25-year-old lady who lives in my mom's basement, and I create variety content on Twitch and booktube content here on YouTube. And today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. It is 11:53 p.m. on Thursday, which means that this video, needs to be live in 10 hours, and I need to wake up for work in 9 hours, so we gotta get the ball rolling. But today I wanted to sit down and talk about the Vampire Academy TV show, the first episode being that it came out today. I was unable to watch it when it first premiered because I was working, but first I want to talk about, before I watch it, I haven't even seen it yet. Like it's 11:54 p.m. and I need to watch like a episode and then watch it, talk about it, edit it, and then post it. So we gotta get it going. So I am a little concerned because I watched the trailer and like I'm not gonna watch it again, but like I was a little concerned because first of all, everybody was British. And that concerned me. What is most important for me from a book to any sort of media adaptation is that they're loyal to the plot and the characters and the tone. I think the tone is what's most important. I think tone is what was the downfall of the Vampire Academy movie, because I personally didn't think that the Vampire Academy movie was that bad. Maybe that's a hot take. I thought that it was casted well. I thought that, you know, as far as plot goes, like it was pretty copy pasted from the book to the movie, but I think tonally it really didn't capture the same vibe. At least I need to reread the series. It's coming. It's coming. Trust me. I need to continue rereading it. But from what I remember, in the 4 times I've reread the first 3 times I've read the first Vampire Academy book. I'm about to read it for a 4th time. And I've read the whole series all the way through twice. What I remember is that it had a bit of a serious tone. Like the characters were, you know, goofy. Like Rose is pretty goofy, but the subject material itself was spoken in a very serious tone. I always thought they put a Degrassi spin on the movie, and that's why people didn't like it as much, is because it didn't take itself very seriously. It positioned itself as like a teen dramedy when it was more supposed to be serious. I think if they gave it the Vampire Diaries spin instead of the Degrassi spin, I think it would have fared a lot better as far as the fan base goes. But then again, that's just my opinion. Please don't, come for me about that. But when I watched the trailer, I was a little concerned. I am really hoping that it does well. Like, I honestly hope it does well, and I wish it the best, because I want it to continue. Like, I want to watch this. I want it to do well. I want to see where it goes, because I love this series genuinely. Like, I want it to succeed. But if it's bad, then we're just going to have to say what it is and call it out. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the fuck up and pause this recording and go watch it, and I will be back. And if I have intermittent thoughts in between, I will talk about them. This is going to have spoilers. This is going to be a commentary and a reaction. All of this is fair use. BTW, YouTube, don't come for me. But I am not going to be showing like any bits of the episode itself. I'm not that talented. So it's just going to be my cute little face. So I'm going to go watch the video right now, and I'll be right back. Apparently, even if I wanted to stream and react to it in real time, it won't allow me because of digital rights of media, or whatever the fuck it's called. That it's basically what happens with a capture card, where it's like piracy. Anyway, that's annoying, but like I get it. It took me finishing the goddamn episode to find out that they uploaded 4 episodes at once, when I thought it was gonna be, 1 per week. But anyway, these are my notes on episode 1. In short, Julie Plec, you're evil, and I hated literally every second of it. For starters, we're starting off at the Queen's 200th birthday party. Okay. I realized that it was a prologue, like, but it would have been nice to know, like, that it was a prologue, or if they said, like, 1 year ago or something. If they said, like, 1 year ago and today instead of today and then 3 months later. Because the whole point is that the crash happens and then 2 years pass before the start of the first book. So it's like the crash happens, and then a year after the crash happens, Rose and Lissa run away, I think, and then they're gone for a year and come back. So it's supposed to be 2 years, but they made it 3 months. That's number one. Number two, when I tell you I paused and had to stop myself from screaming when Victor Dashkov is in the car and he says, "These are my daughters, Mia and Sonia." First of all, Victor Dashkov had a daughter. Her name was Natalie. Second of all, Sonia Karp was a whole ass teacher who was gone, who turned Strigoi, and nobody knew why. And it was a whole mystery. They were trying to find out what happened to her because Miss Karp was the whole reason why they left Vladimir's in the first place. And now she's back and she's a student and she's Victor's daughter. And then Mia is also his daughter. And Mia and Sonia are sisters. And Mia is Victor's daughter, but she's not a royal, so it has to be his adopted daughter. They never talk about it. They just talk about the fact that Mia and Sonia both have the last name Karp and not Dashkov, but he presents them as his daughters, but then Mia is not royal, she's Andre's fiance. I'm confusion. I am confusion. I had to make sure that I was recording there for a second because I honestly thought I wasn't there for a second. So, also, the entire point is that we didn't realize that Victor was evil from the jump. First of all, he was just Lissa's sickly uncle who meant well, and then he sent his daughter Natalie to like be their third friend, to be their third wheel. But now Natalie doesn't exist, and Victor is very sus from the very beginning. And there's this whole thing going on with Mia and about how she's Andre's fiance and like wants to be queen, and that'll make Victor like basically hand of the queen in a sense. But like in the book, he was sickly and vied for the throne on his own because he genuinely believed that it should go to him because he was older and a man. But because of his degenerative disease, it got passed over. The throne was passed over him by default because he was going to die anyway. So that's why he wanted Lissa to be his like permanent healer so that he could be ruler and like be cured continuously. Anyway, the scene where Andre, why was there a sex scene? Why did I see a man's bare ass? Pinecone, can you chill? I need my cat to stop grooming herself. Andre was fucking some girl in the closet. Like, I did not need to see this man's bare ass. But, like, the girl that he was fucking, he didn't even know her name. He just, like, saw her out of the corner of his eye. And he was like, yeah, I'll go risk it all right now. And she said her name was Tatiana. But Tatiana was the name of the queen in the books. Like, there was no queen that was about to, like, pass the succession on. That didn't happen until much later. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't read it. But, like, Tatiana was the queen when the book started. So is it like saying that like this girl becomes queen, signaling to the book readers, or Tatiana was never queen? So like that's all messed up. That's all fucked up. I basically just said in all caps the sex scene is unnecessary. And then I said the Strigoi attack that happened during the party mixed with the party made the fight scene look like dance choreography. Like zombie dancers dance choreography. I really wish that I could show you. I really wish that I could like show you what this looks like because it's not good, besties. It's not good. Not at all. Also, why is everybody British? Like the movie at least, they hired a Russian actor to play a Russian character, and he had a Russian accent, and everybody else that was there had like vague Russian accents, like some characters like the headmistress and Dmitri and such, but Why was everybody British except Lissa? Anyway, Lissa and Rose do look good together. The actresses for Lissa and Rose, I actually quite like them, especially the actress for Lissa. She low-key killed it. She's the standout, like 110%. She's the standout in this. Um, I thought it was kind of iconic when Alberta looked at Dimitri, and then I don't remember what the other guy's name is. I think his name is like Spider. I don't remember what his name is. When they left the party to go kill the Strigoi at the gates, and then they came back and there was like not a hair out of place, and like they looked like nothing ever happened, and they were like, yeah, everything's fine. Like they looked like they came back from a bathroom break. That was iconic behavior. I honestly thought that was iconic behavior. However, we do know, like they said in the books, it takes 5 of our best to take down 1 of their worst, or something that Zoe Deutsch said over the voiceover. We know that Strigoi are much more powerful than Moroi and Dampier, so like the fact that they were all able to fend them off and it doesn't even look like they broke a sweat was a little confusing to me. But okay, also the special effects on them was really bad. The fact that there was only a 3-month time jump between the accident and Lissa returning to school, like there was like 2 years since the crash and 1 year since they left the academy again. So like that doesn't make any sense, because part of their, and I talked about this like multiple times in my notes, but like the whole point as to why they were social outcasts is because they left for a year and Rose was behind in her training, and that was why she had to take private lessons from Dimitri, which is how their relationship formed, is because they spent private time together and they were colleagues and not adversaries. Like it wasn't an enemies to lovers, like he was tutoring her. It was more like a student teacher situation. And Lissa was a social outcast because she fell down the popularity ladder, and Mia rose above it because like life moved on without her. Like the popularity train just kept on moving, and everybody thought that she was some like sad, depressed princess that didn't want to have fun anymore, which was kind of stupid. Just a small note, but like the academy was by the beach and not in like a forest in the middle of nowhere. The academy was both simultaneously like by a beach and a forest at the same time, because Lissa was visiting her parents' graves at a small graveyard like by the ocean, and then she said, I think I'm ready to go back. And it didn't look like they traveled a very long distance, so they had to have been still by the beach. But then when Rose and Lissa went out into the woods to go to the lake to release those paper lanterns to like have their own little mini funeral for the Dragomir family, they're like in a forest. So it's like a beach and a forest at the same time. Like the setting is a little confusing to me. The only point, the only 2 things that I will give the that I will give credit to is the setting. The setting was legitimately beautiful. I think that like the setting that they chose was really good. I think that how everything looked was appropriate. Like it looked like, you know, a Russian Gothic inspired place. It looked a bit modernized, of course, but it looked appropriate given the subject matter. Also, the cinematography was really good. So kudos to that. I really wish my cat would stop grooming herself in the middle of this because I can't edit it out. Also, when Lissa is taken back to the school by her uncle, they were traveling in a Tesla. Tesla product placement bad. I hated it. So Lissa left the academy for 3 months, but Rose did not, which completely messes setting up the whole point about Rose being behind in her training, which is so she doesn't end up with Dimitri as her tutor. So there's that. Dimitri has a London accent. He deadass sounds like Harry Styles. He sounds very, very similar, lightly like muted, but he sounds like he has the same accent as Harry Styles, and I hate it. Also, the feeder room, drinking from the neck, when we all know that they drank from the wrist because feeders had normal lives to live in the meantime. I felt as though this was just gratuitous to make it sexy because it was considered scandalous to be a feeder, and like it was considered scandalous to like be a quote unquote blood whore, which is what Rose was for Lissa while they were on the run. So they're completely missing the setup to that story about vicious rumors about Rose being a hoe because she let Lissa drink from her out of survival. So we're missing that. I still do not know where the fuck Natalie is, and it's stressing me out. The introduction of Christian was lazy and bad. Like, Lissa is in a church practicing Old Moroi because she needs to, like, speak an incantation in front of everybody to, like, assume being the head of the Dragomir family and he helps her like speak the language. This was dumb. Like, I don't remember Old Moroi being a language, but like this is inspired by like Russian mythology, right? Like this is basically Russian Orthodox Catholicism. So the language would be either Russian or Latin, probably Latin. So I don't understand where Old Moroi comes in as a language. Also, Christian's entire exposition is like, I'm new, my name's Christian, and no, I don't know why my parents turned into Strigoi. Like, laziest exposition of my life. It felt like somebody wrote like a fan fiction. This is a fan fiction. Also, like, Lissa and Christian being attracted to each other pretty quickly is accurate, but the way that they're doing it over bonding over an old language is kind of cute, but like, and nerdy. But like, they met and bonded because they both took refuge in the church because they were social outcasts, because Christian was a social outcast because of what his parents did, and Lissa was a social outcast because she left the school for a year. I took Pinecone's collar off, and she looked at me like I committed a felony against her. And Poppy will get the same treatment if she doesn't shut the fuck up, too. This is important. I said, and I quote, I don't like the special effects on the damn piers out of spite and because they look goofy. I stand by that. That's valid. I think they look goofy as fuck. Also, like, we were about halfway through the episode when we hadn't seen Mia since the queen's birthday. And, like, in the book and in the movie, like, we learned that, like, she genuinely loved Andre. Like, she gave a shit about him. Like, the whole point was, like, Andre was a massive playboy. And, like, they showed that by him fucking some girl at the queen's birthday party. But she loved him. So when she's talking to Victor, who is definitely not her father in the books, she's talking about how like she like may have loved him in her own way, but like they inevitably like didn't give a shit about each other. That was a political arrangement. So I do not understand like why I'm a little confused. And like Mia's supposed to be this villain. She's supposed to be a villain. The whole point was that Victor was sick and that he wanted Lissa to heal him, but he didn't know if she actually had healing powers. So Lissa was supposed to, like, that was why they had all the dead animals. That's why Natalie kept leaving out all the dead animals to try to get Lissa to heal them, because they were trying to figure it out. But there's not going to be any dead animals because Victor is not ill. So there's going to be none of that. So how is Lissa going to discover that she has spirit powers or that she wields the spirit element? Like, how is she going to figure that out if none of the story as of this far is discussing her whether or not she can heal things? So, like, they haven't brought up the fact that Lissa and Rose were not supposed to survive. Well, Rose was not supposed to survive the accident, and she managed to survive by some miracle. Like, they haven't covered that yet. The part where Victor said what we want and what we must do are two different things, and then Lissa having a flashback of Andre saying it, and then the crash, I immediately paused it and went, wait, this is kind of iconic, because like, what if Lissa like starts to figure out that like maybe there was something more going on there, that like maybe her uncle was manipulating Andre for like his own use or whatever, but then she just starts having a panic attack instead. Understandable given the circumstances, but like not the direction I would have taken it. Like, if Lissa had just kind of like taken a step back and like squinted her eyes at him a little bit and like said, okay, then I understand. Like, I would have been like, okay, we stand. Like, Lissa's a smart ass bitch actually. But instead she had a panic attack, which it's not to say, instead, but valid reaction given what the poor girl had been through. But like, you had a chance to like, the crumbs were right there. The cookie crumbs on the trail are literally the size of a boulder, and you are not following this trail, and it is episode 1. Please, I'm begging you. But then during Lissa's panic attack, Rose has a flash to Lissa there, and like it causes her to lose the match with Mason, and I thought, ooh, maybe this is like the setup to Rose taking lessons from Dimitri because she wants to actually become number 1 again, and because she lost it due to some freak incident. because she's so hyper competitive, like she'll take tutoring even though she doesn't really need it. She just wants somebody who's like on the same level as her or better than her to spar against so she can become better. And then I said probably the two characters that remain most like their book counterparts are Jessie and Rose. One is an absolute douchebag and the other is Rose. And I said what I said and I meant it. And then we had content warning for themes of self-harm. Content warning. So if you are unfamiliar, in the books, Lissa uses her healing powers to, when she uses her healing powers, she would get emotionally overwhelmed. And as a result, she would inflict upon herself. And in the books, this was discussed very gingerly. Eventually, there was a time when Lissa went to therapy and had antidepressants, and this was taken in a really mature way where Rochelle Mead really was probably the only author that I can remember that when discussing such sensitive subjects in a series made for teens, that it was dealt with in a really mature manner and in the right manner. Instead of saying like, oh, like life sucks, get over it, it was, there's help out there for you. There are resources out there for you, and there are things that can help you. And these resources are provided to Lissa in a good way, and people around her are supportive of her mental health journey. And I think that's really positive mental health representation of what it's like when you are feeling overwhelmed. And I mean, I know I can relate, but like when you're feeling overwhelmed and like nothing can help, probably the best thing for you from the jump is to have a supportive community, to have a supportive family, people who are encouraging you to get better, and people who are encouraging your journey every step of the way. Everybody's journey is different. Every day is different. Sometimes you go forwards and sometimes you go backwards. It's everybody's own individual journey. And I think that Rochelle Mead really talked about this in a really sensitive but good way that I think provided a perspective in teen media that was missing. So when Lissa, after having her panic attack, she wakes up, looks like she woke up from a nightmare, and then Rose finds her putting her hand in the sunlight as a form of harming herself because she feels as though that's the only way she can control anything in her life. Understood where it's coming from, but in the books it was related to her powers. That in like we know Moroi don't burn in the sun. We know that like they can tolerate it, they don't like it because the day is their night, but they don't burn in the sunlight. The Strigoi do. So this is going against what we know in the books about Moroi and sunlight. So when this was presented, I was like, okay, this is presenting the discussion of Lissa and how she used self-harm as a method of control over her emotions. Yes, however, it is in direct opposition to what we know about Moroi as a species and what happened in the book. Like, if this is an adaptation, we need to be discussing, like, it's okay for things to change, and adaptations are never going to be copy-pasted from their source material. But it's in direct conflict with what we know and what happens, because Lissa doesn't know anything about her powers yet. We don't know anything. They don't even say anything about her powers or anybody's powers. They haven't even like discussed them yet. We've seen a couple of people use fire element, but that's about it. So I felt as though this was gratuitous, unneeded, not needed. This was not needed at this time. I will say though, Lissa's actress is kind of killing it. The way that she is able to portray a young woman who is strong but also going through a hard time. Like, she is portraying grief and the stages of in a very good way, because Lissa understands like it was time to go back to the academy, but she's unwilling to step up to where her brother was in society because she doesn't feel like that was the position that was made for her, or that they are hard shoes to fill. But she wanted to do other things with her life, and those are all valid. But then at the same time, she's grieving the loss of her family, like her mother and her father and her brother, not just political leaders and a political family and figureheads. She's mourning family, and not just the fact that now she needs to step into this position that was not supposed to be for her. When Lissa asked Rose at the lake if Rose was going to be okay after the Dragomirs died, I thought that this was a nice addition, because we know that like Rose's dad he's not around much, and her mom is a complete bitch. Like, we all know Janine Hathaway is a massive bitch, but we know that Lissa's family was basically the only family that Rose ever had. So when Rose really went into detail about how her mom always said hello and goodbye to her and always hugged her hello and goodbye, and her dad always made fun of her accent, it really paints a picture of how the Dragomirs were Rose's family too, and that she is also grieving. And I thought that that was a nice touch, that these are two besties and two sisters grieving. And I also just have such a soft spot for the found family trope. I think that is so good, because you can't always choose who you're related to. Like, it's the family that you're born into, you can't choose, but you can choose the people that you consider family. And I think that that's beautiful personally. Moving on from some very serious subjects that needed discussion, Rose was a big deal at the school, not just because she was some hotshot novice, but because she was also a hot bad girl who would like make out with the Maroi Royals like Jessie on the side. And like, this was missing. I was missing this. Like, she was very just like hyper competitive and focused on what she was doing, and literally that was it. Dimitri on the tower practicing his martial arts looks like he belongs in Naruto. He looks goofy as fuck, and I hated every second of it. Also, while the lake scene was really cute, them being outside of the gates at night and them being attacked by a Strigoi, that didn't happen. That did not happen. I was also a little confused by Rose feeling pain right before the Strigoi attacked. Like, I don't understand how that could mean anything. So I'm a little unsure as to what that means in the future, if they're going to discuss it. Also, killing a Strigoi, or at least holding one off, is extremely hard. Like, you get a tattoo when you kill one. So the fact that these people are so easily able to kill and fend them off doesn't make any sense to me. Like, Rose was able to hold off being, dinner for this Strigoi, and then Dimitri just comes along and kills him really, really easily. Like, in the books and in the movie, like, Rose stayed the fuck away from Strigoi. She was like, I am not getting in on that. They are scary, they are freaky, and they are very, very, very hard to kill. Another thing I thought was really interesting is that Lissa and her uncle were talking about how important it was that Lissa stepped into her brother's shoes and like took his place as head of the family, because her vote mattered when it came to choosing the successor. Like, the queen is very adamant that like who she chooses should be the next person in line, but the fact that this is more of a democratic monarchy where like the royal families have a vote in the line of succession and it's not just based on the families themselves, I thought that this was interesting, that they were kind of setting up the need for Lissa to be involved in politics was interesting. Like, even though like in the plot of the book there was no point where this was present, because the queen was Tatiana and there was no like anything going on. This wasn't a thing in the books. Like, the queen was Tatiana and that was it. There was no like matter of immediate succession from the jumps. But like, her uncle telling her she needs to basically grow the fuck up and give a shit about the monarchy. Like, in the books it was very clear she was being groomed to be the next queen, and like this is happening in the series as well. But in the books it was never guaranteed that she would be the next ruler. Like, they were low-key, they were grooming her, but it wasn't guaranteed. But this is like very outright, like she is going to become queen. And like her uncle thought it should have been him again because he was older and a man, but he was disqualified because of his degenerative illness that would kill him, which is why he wanted Lissa to heal him in the first place and wanted to use her in the first place to defeat her, basically kill her to save himself. But I think that like emphasizing Lissa's participation in politics is a good addition, despite the fact that political intrigue was not part of the series at its core. Also, I cannot stand Dimitri's characterization. Not only does his actor sound like Harry Styles, but like the way that they've characterized him is, I almost dropped my phone, is so annoying. And I don't like it. I don't like him. I don't think I will ever like him. Oh my God, it's almost 2 a.m. I gotta wrap this shit up. Lissa and Rose being roommates and then not being roommates, and then Mia and Lissa are now roommates. What the fuck? I hate it. Thank you. Rose's mom emailing her instead of a telegram, more long-winded, but we still get the point. Janine is a bitch and we hate her. Period. I said what I said. Also, Rose and Mason. What? So in the book and in the movie, Mason was like thirsting after Rose, and Rose was just like, whoa there. No. And the whole point was that he was like flirting with her all the time, and she was just like, oh, you're so cute, but no. And she would like go make out with the hot Maroys, and you know, she would make Mason like pine after her and simp over her, but now they're fuck buddies. We're setting up the fact that they've been fuck buddies. I am confusion. But then Mason rejected her and was like, no, I don't want to do that right now. I want to be a good friend right now. And then he holds her head in his hands while she talks and he listens. This was positive, non-toxic masculinity at its finest. Perhaps at this moment, maybe not in the future, perhaps in this moment we stan. Because I thought that was nice. I thought that was nice. And I mean, if I had a guy best friend, I do, but like if I had a guy best friend hold my head in his hands while I just talked about my problems and like that was it, that would be kind of nice. The queen announcing the heir to the throne at a party instead of keeping it formal is iconic. However, the actress is not cheeky enough to make it funny. The actress who played the queen, I could tell they were writing her to be funny. Like she was supposed to be like old and crotchety but funny and over it, like I'm old and I want to be done with this bullshit, like can I just name my heir and be done with it. Like I can tell where they were going, but the line delivery and the tone was not there. And then my ending thought was that now that Lissa is named heir by the queen, despite the fact that it's also a democracy and they vote, does this result in Lissa being a social outcast? Is this what causes her to become a social outcast? Is that it? And then the episode ended and I realized they posted 4 episodes at once instead of just one. I don't know if that was a mistake, but I'm going to be real busy for the next couple of days. So, expect the rest of this by the end of the weekend, because I will finish it. On God, I will finish it. Mark my goddamn words. However, my parting words after this episode 1 commentary and reaction is, Julie Plec, you are evil. Absolutely evil for doing this to me. I thought you had already let me down enough with the originals and legacies, but this really does hit. This like hits me right in the core. It was a part of me growing up, and like we're going back to read the books. I would have read them by now if I didn't have a full-time job, but like, why? I honest to God feel like whatever the movie did, the TV series did the literal exact opposite, because the movie basically copy pasted the plot from the book, right? But then the TV series just changed so much. It's like, did you run into copyright that you couldn't properly adapt it because it was too similar to an already existing property? Was that like part of the fine lines? Is Rochelle okay? Can somebody please go check on Rochelle Mead? I'm begging. Is she okay? This is her baby. I just hope Rochelle is okay. Like, somebody please check on Auntie, because I know she must not be doing okay to see her series so disrespected. And honestly, I'm a little scared. And I hope that this shows everybody once and for all that we actually had it right the first time. And that the movie was actually good. I hope that maybe people will see that I was right all along and that my hot take was correct. Maybe people will also see that my hot take that the City of Bones movie is good, actually. You know, I seem to be alone in that as well, because the Shadowhunter series disappointed me, just like I have a feeling this is going to. And now I'm sad. And now I have to edit this and go to bed and wake up for work in 7 hours and pretend like I'm not dying inside. So, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Remember to drink water and be nice to each other and exude kindness and empathy with everything that you do. I will provide bonus content and bonus commentary on the rest of this, probably by the end of this weekend, probably by Monday. I don't know at this point. Everything is a disaster and everything's on fire. And I wish that I could do this all the time. I wish that I could do this as a job because I think it's fun. But right now, I have a job that pays my bills. This paycheck right here that I got today is paying my bills. So, for now, we're doing this on a budget. And we're doing this sad because I cannot do everything that I wish to do all the time. So, I'm going to go now. And I will see you guys next time.